Staring at a laptop spec sheet often feels like trying to read a foreign language. You are immediately hit with a wall of alphanumeric soup, i3, i5, hx, k, and left to figure out what any of it actually means. Guess wrong, and you either drain your bank account for power you'll never use, or buy a machine that collapses when doing real work. But Intel's naming convention is not random marketing jargon. It is a carefully tiered, mathematical map of computational power. To decode this map, we have to start at the absolute bottom of the power spectrum and climb the silicon ladder, step by step. This structured approach to the hardware lineup allows for a precise calculation of what you intend to do versus what the silicon can actually handle. The base of that ladder does not start with speed, it starts with stamina. Intel Atom is the marathon runner of the group, engineered specifically to stay on for years at a time without needing a fan or a break. It thrives in environments where failure is not an option, but raw processing power is unnecessary. These are the ultra-low power chips running the point-of-sale machines at your grocery store and the digital flight boards at the airport. Stepping up to consumer PCs, we hit the Core i3. This is the budget-friendly starter pack, equipped with 4 to 6 cores. It provides enough muscle to handle homework, office tasks, and keeping 20 browser tabs open at once. But try to render a 4K movie on an i3, and you will be waiting hours for it to finish. In laptops, you will often see these chips tagged with a U suffix. That stands for ultra-low power, an extreme efficiency mode designed to preserve your battery for as long as possible when you forget your charger at home. In this tier, endurance and thermal management take priority over the quest for high-speed clock rates. The next step up introduces real performance. The Core i5 packs 6 to 14 cores, sitting squarely in the architectural sweet spot for most users. It strikes a careful balance, offering enough fast processing for demanding applications like gaming, programming, and video editing, all without creeping into enterprise-level prices. For desktop users, the i5 is where you frequently encounter the K suffix. This indicates the processor is unlocked and ready for a practice called overclocking. Overclocking allows you to force the CPU to run faster than it was originally designed to. The catch is thermal physics. In exchange for that extra speed, the processor generates a massive amount of physical heat. If the i5 is the mainstream sweet spot, the Core i7 crosses into heavy-duty territory. Bumping up to 20 cores, this tier is built for serious multitaskers. It manages highly complex workflows, like playing a demanding game while streaming, recording, and running a virtual background. On laptops, the HX suffix delivers desktop speed, but drains your battery incredibly fast. Ascending this middle tier reveals a constant physical trade-off. Every exponential gain in performance requires an equally steep sacrifice in power draw and thermal output. Then there is the flagship, the Core i9. Outfitted with up to 24 cores, this chip provides pure processing overkill for about 95% of standard human users. The demographic that actually taps into this power is a highly specific niche: professional 3D animators, data scientists, and competitive gamers who require extremely high, stable frame rates. But reaching the i9 highlights a problem in modern silicon design. Simply cramming more processing cores onto a single chip eventually hits a wall of diminishing returns for practical daily workflows. To bypass that wall, Intel introduced the Core Ultra series. This premium tier represents a shift away from brute force processing toward a highly specialized architecture. These chips feature a built-in Neural Processing Unit, or NPU, a secondary brain for artificial intelligence. By routing heavy workloads directly to the NPU, the main processor stays cool and focuses on standard applications. Parallel to this is Intel vPro. This is a corporate variant of these chips, equipped with hardware-level encryption and remote management tools, so IT departments can troubleshoot your machine from across the country. This architecture addresses problems that raw core counts can no longer solve alone, prioritizing specific task efficiency over general processing power. If we leave consumer electronics behind entirely, we reach the absolute ceiling of Intel's architecture: Intel Xeon. These processors are industrial powerhouses. Armed with up to 120 cores, Xeon chips are engineered strictly for massive data centers and major movie studios like Disney. You do not put a Xeon in a gaming PC. You put this in the machines that actively run the infrastructure of the internet, handling workloads that would make a Core i9 freeze. It represents the extreme limit of the progression, where consumer hardware hands off to the systems maintaining global network stability. Looking at this grid, Intel's lineup stops looking like a wall of jargon and reveals itself as a highly organized spectrum of specialized tools. Purchasing the wrong processor has immediate consequences. You either cripple your workflow with a chip that can't keep up, or you burn money on potential you will never tap into. There is a constant temptation to buy the most expensive hardware available simply for the bragging rights. But using a 24-core i9 to scroll through social media is an entirely hollow victory. To navigate the silicon ladder, you must objectively assess your daily tasks and match them directly to the corresponding capability of the chip. Selecting the right processor requires moving past marketing labels to focus on the specific physical demands of your daily workflow.